Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, the Manga Man here, and today we're talking about Black Clover, chapter 285, which released officially on Sunday night, but it's been kind of late early. So as always, take all translations with a pinch of salt. Any major corrections, I will pick them up when the official release comes out, but do bear with me. And as always, subscribe, like, follow the links in the description below, which will have all the timestamps as well as links to my Twitter, the subreddit, which you can use for notifications and to check out the links that I post there. Without further ado, let's get into this review. So, what a chapter, and some of this foreshadowing that may have been missed seems to have come to fruition almost. So from a storytelling point of view, it's very NACT centric, but the revelation at the end begs more questions. So let's kind of go through the role of this chapter, or the rundown of the chapter, and kind of pick it apart a little bit. So ultimately, the way it starts is this. Few hours prior to Noella and the crew arriving. So this is prior to Noella doing the ultimate magic, and incorrectly, and I didn't mention this last chapter, Luke actually takes out the middle class demon, so he's above them by himself with this new attack. Before this happens, where we see NACT, basically a pinata spiked out, this happens. And what we see, I like this because I like the fact that we don't get this explanation that's skipped over. We get to see it. It does happen sometimes to push the narrative along, but what this ultimately is doing is giving us more about NACT, forced to care more about NACT, which hopefully means he won't die, because I really like the guy anyway, and the fact that he's got these funky modes and this character's funny, and it wants me to him to be around because he fits nicely with the Black Balls, and we find a few things out here. So we see that essentially NACT is there with the twins, the twin high level demons. Dante is there just reveling in the moment, and Jack is getting off the ground. So the first thing is Jack isn't down. That's important because he's going to have to be the one that's going to deal with Dante. And basically, even NACT says that I'm putting my faith in this guy. It might not be enough, but we need to take the Dark Triad down. Now, what I find interesting is that the twins kind of say Dante's is an annoyance, and essentially he's Lucifero's plaything, his pawn, his toy, which shows how lowly they think of him. So even if he's on their side, you can see when the doors open, he's basically going to be put aside and killed, and I can see the same thing happening for all the Dark Triad realistically, just purely based on the way this is hinted. Anyway, we see that one of the demons that follows NACT appears on his shoulder. Now the actual translation doesn't make sense. I'm gonna wait for the official translation, but it says Warbringer or War Drummer or something along those lines, and he basically appears next to NACT, and NACT says, did you complete the earlier mission? What that earlier mission is, I don't know, but that leaves a thread of narrative later on down the line for us to come back to, so bear that in mind. And then he changes his mode into this new mode, which kind of looks like a plague doctor from back in the day, kind of mixed like a peacock, more like I'm kind of thinking a phoenix, and he does this kind of a war cry, which kind of stuns, it looks like, these high level demons. He then drags them into another space, and what I found cool was he did this mana zone. So he's a high level technical mage to be able to do that. His mana zone has been shown to be more of an advanced form of mana skin, so it is at worst an intermediate level technique, at best an advanced technique. So for him to be able to do that shows how skilled he is. He then starts what he refers to as the game of tag from hell, and his job is basically to last as long as possible, though he does say he doesn't mind dying. And the fact that he says that it means in his mind, this is like the Hail Mary, basically the end of the road. He's gonna just give it all up here, hold him for as long as he can, and die, and hopefully imprison him in this space. The fact that he's now out of this space, current timeline, indicates something's gone wrong, and we're gonna find out what that was. What did they do? Because he said, look, they've got unlimited mana or magic. They're not going to be taken down by running out of steam. We're going to have to hold them for as long as possible. He changed to Equus mode as well, which is essentially the armor. It looks like it's for defense or toughness or endurance. And he goes to that mode. He goes, I can't really attack in this mode. But essentially, he's there to kind of tough it out for as long as possible. And they make statements as well at him, and they're tagging along, and they're going to essentially lose their patience once they do. All hell's going to break loose, because we saw that the whole castle was burnt and frozen. That's probably how they got out of the space. They kind of just disrupted the mana space. That being said, the flashback at the end asks a lot of questions, but it was there in front of our eyes a very long time ago. So there's the chapter, I believe it's 266. I did look at it, but I wasn't sure the numbering. I think it's chapter 266. It's a chapter where basically NACHT takes Aster to a place where they're going to do that contract. And it looks like a broken down old house that used to belong to nobles. And there's a picture there, and you see one child with black hair, and then there's another child there, which is meant to be family, and you don't get to see, it's kind of scratched out and dark. We get to see why now. So we see that there's two brothers. One's called Morgine or Morgan, and the other one's called NACHT. Now apparently, based on what I've seen in the breakdown on forums, Morgine or Morgan in German means day, and NACHT means night in German. So if you can think about it, then basically yin and yang, night and day. Now, the translations are a bit off here, so I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here. They're either twins, or NACHT is maybe a slightly older twin, or he's the older brother, but not by much. The reason why I say that is because they talk about the both brothers. They go, this brother, he's nice to everybody, he's popular, he's familiar with other people, he's, happy to be around, and the people like him, and he's enrolled as a magic knight, and he's wearing the same robe as essentially Yami, who rocks up towards the end, which leads me to believe that he was an Azure Deer character or member. And he says, there's a mission coming, let's go. And this character, who has dark hair, who is Morgan, or Morgine, is very polite, and he says, yeah, cool, let's go. And then we see right next to him a blonde character who is meant to be NACHT. Now, he seems like he's in a rebellious stage, no one likes him, he doesn't like people, and he's like, I can't believe you're doing all this stuff. And the chapter ends right about there. Now, the speculations of people are going wild. If he was the older twin, possibly the younger twin is dead, he died on a mission, and somebody evil beat him or killed him, which is why he's how he is, and he dyed his hair to remind himself of his brother, to effectively get his revenge in his own way, or find his own justice, or he feels guilty about something that caused his death, and he's doing it as a comeuppance. Now, what this kind of means to me is possibly Yami chose Morgine to be that person in the future Black Bulls, but he died or something happened to him, and NACHT is the person who now takes over that, and is the placeholder as the vice captain. That's what it seems like. I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see the official release. But it looks like either NACHT is the older twin and the twins, or NACHT's the older brother, because he's referred to as Nissan, which is kind of because normally, when you watch the anime, Onisan is normally the phrase that they would use for respectfully calling your older brother. Nissan seems more informal, which leads me to believe he possibly is the older twin rather than an older brother, like as in a few years difference. And the picture shows them at a similar height, so it possibly is that the twins, he's just the older twin, and he's the more dominating twin, and basically something has happened to Morgine or Morgan. We're gonna have to wait and see. Ultimately, next week. It's a week away. We'll find out soon enough. But as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.